Welcome back to Shmokin Hot Takes. Folks, we got a great episode for you today. We've got our sleeper and overrated players and teams, Super Bowl picks, and MVPs. And we're going to get a little presidential here today. I'm here with Coop.
Ew.
K-Dog.
Hey.
And the money man, C-Dubs.
Yo.
And I'm Prophet J. Back at it.
Are
Season
you the prophet?
2.
Are you gonna?
We're gonna find out
carry
this
that?
season.
I thought it was
I don't know.
Prophet K-Dog. Right?
No, I don't know.
He's a disputed
I need
prophet.
a rebrand.
We'll let him. We'll see how you start this season, and then we might force you into
Like,
into
if
a
we
new
can,
name.
if I just need to come up with something, but like natural. It can't be like, I guess Prophet J was kind of forced, but.
I like
Cool.
it.
Coop had something in mind, but we maybe won't say it on.
Ooh, that
on
would be.
air.
So it would be like Jay.
that nickname came over a few beers.
Yeah, that was
So-
fun. We did karaoke over the weekend. So
Yeah,
that was good.
What do you guys sing?
Oh, plethora, man! Like we were doing.
I did Man Eater by Nelly
Man
Furtado.
Eater, yeah.
Nice.
We did Fight for Your Rights.
Yep.
Classic.
Beastie Boys.
Luke
The Party.
Combs, of course.
A lot of country. God's Country.
God's
I like Sheldon.
Country.
That's a fun one. That's a fun one to do.
You seem like a Journey type of guy, Coop. Not gonna
Who?
lie.
A Jerry?
No, Journey.
Oh, Journey.
Oh, I didn't even
Like
think
more than
about
a
that.
feeling.
Yeah.
I got more than a feeling about the season
Oh!
coming up, baby.
I like that. Yeah, we're getting into the football swing. We got Giants Hard Knocks, which I'll tell you what, my girlfriend, big Giants fan, big hater of the front office over there. She is down bad about that.
Those episodes are like way too short.
I
They're
feel
like 30 minutes. I feel like that's
so the
what's
problem
going
with
on.
that is you can't. I mean, like, imagine you're like a GM running a front office. Like, you don't want like your tricks and your trade
Yeah.
and all that. Like,
I
I feel
guess-
like it's limited in what you show, and
Right.
it's just a limitation by the show itself.
Yeah, I wonder
You can't-
what we aren't seeing. You know,
you're
like
probably
all
not.
the actual
Did you
smart moves.
Did
they're
you watch
making.
the most recent episode?
The one on Tuesday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was actually pretty fascinating watching the GM run through like all the
Like,
options
negotiate?
with all the
Oh.
with like all the
Like what could happen.
with John Mara or whatever, and the VP. He's like, if these guys go, then this and this and this, and then if not, like we're just like neighbors, and like it was kind of
It's a
interesting
tough
just
job.
seeing like how like different
Yeah.
like many trees you can get
Did
into.
you guys watch it at all?
No.
They were talking like trades, and he was like, "Yeah, if we move down from 6 to 9, they're gonna give us like their second or third." That's
It did seem
that's
like
a
a lot.
terrible trade. No,
Yeah.
because to get up to 3,
They were
they were
going
gonna have to give first,
Yeah.
like multiple firsts.
Yeah.
So that just seemed kind of weird to me.
Yeah, I agree. That was kind of like the Bears were like willing to give him like a second and a third, but then who is it? The Patriots wanted like a first,
Yeah.
I think a second and a third or something like that.
I'm just surprised they weren't asking.
But
for
I think it just goes to show like the value of like QBs,
Yeah,
right? Because
that's
like
true.
that was obviously to either get Daniels or Drake
Yeah.
May.
And that it's a lot more complex than we think.
Yes.
Because, I don't know. I always thought growing up, like, oh, it's so easy. Like, just make the phone call, make the trade. But, like, there's a
Right.
lot more that goes into it than just, like, mixing and matching picks.
Yeah, and a lot of these guys are buddies too. Like
That
It
too,
is kind of
yeah.
fun.
So.
But I did feel a sense of camaraderie as I was watching him make all the calls right before the draft. That's how usually I am, you know. So
Wait, in Dynasty?
that's why I'm talking. I'm calling people saying, "Hey, buddy."
Right.
So hey, any NFL front offices, if you looking for a new prospective GM on the rise,
Let's look at his Dynasty records first. How about that?
it takes a sec. Bill Belichick wasn't always a winner.
I don't know. Check the books.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so let's get into it. So as I ran through, we're going to talk through some of our sleeper and overrated players for the 2024-2025 season. We're going to talk about our Super Bowl pick, just the winner. Talk about our MVP, who we project to be getting that. And then over and underrated teams. I don't know. Whatever. Teams, players.
You got them all?
And then we got a fun little middle segment, which we're going to give our top 5 coaches who would be the best presidents.
Oh, I thought we were debating. It was like a presidential debate.
Oh.
That's what I prep for.
Is that why you're wearing a suit right now?
It's got a blonde wig on,
Birthday
too.
suit.
Okay. All right. C-Dubs is going to kick us off. He's going to go straight into our Sleeper players.
All right, y'all. So bear with me here. So I have two. Like we kind of prepped this a little bit. The second one I'm gonna just kind of breeze over, but the first one is why we're all here. The first one is the cream of the crop, and we're going to the rookie wide receiver class of this year.
Love it.
Now some people might call this a homer pick, but I'm going with Brian Thomas Jr. of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let me tell you about Mr. Brian Thomas Jr. We're gonna call him BTJ from here on out, right? Mr. BTJ. He led all of college football last year with 17 touchdowns.
Wow.
His 40-yard dash was 4.33. He's 6'4", 205 pounds, and his vertical is 38.5 inches.
Sounds like me.
What is that? It's a close comparison. You're close second. What that translates to, though, is that this guy's an athletic freak who knows how to jump. That was stupid, but he knows he knows how to jump up and get those 50-50 contested catches, right? So, and he led college football with 17 touchdowns. They only play 12 games in college football, guys, and he had 17 touchdowns. That's more than most NFL guys get in 17 games.
He was at LSU.
He was at LSU, right. And he was competing for targets with Malik Neighbors, who was the 6th overall pick in the draft this year.
He had 17 touchdowns,
and he had 17 touchdowns last year. I don't know off the top of my head.
It'd be amazing if he had 17 as well.
But I mean, they had the Jaden Daniels
like
Heisman quarterback campaign. So, but regardless, he was a huge part of the LSU offense, right? Now he gets drafted to Jacksonville, the places where careers go to die, right? No one ever wants. It's just a black hole of suck. No one wants to be there ever, right? However, I think this is a great opportunity for him, and I'll tell you why. So, They didn't have a traditional X receiver last year. I know I came on last year and was mentioning this, that Ridley was not a good fit. They weren't using him correctly. Ridley's role last year in that offense should have been what Kirk was playing in the slot. But they tried to kind of put the square peg in the round hole and force him into that X role outside. Right. It didn't work, right? It worked for most of the season, but we've collapsed in the second half with the injuries. We missed the playoffs. It's embarrassing. So, Ridley is gone. What does that mean for the Jacksonville offense?
Gabe Davis.
Sorry. So, last year, Jacksonville had the 8th highest pass percentage in the league. So, they passed the ball on 63.5% of their offensive plays. The X receiver in Calvin Ridley had 24 end zone targets last year. Only 7 touchdowns. But 24 targets, okay? The X receiver in the offense had the highest first read out of any team in the NFL at 25.1%. So that means as soon as the ball is snapped, Trevor Lawrence is looking right at that X receiver, which was Ridley last year, which is now going to be BTJ, Brian Thomas Jr. They also have the 5th most vacated targets in the NFL, 251. And last year, per game, they were averaging the 2nd most amount of deep passes per game at 4.7 deep passes per game, which is passes over 20 yards plus. Brian Thomas Jr. is set up to explode, and no one is talking about him. Everyone's talking about Marvin Harrison Jr., rightfully so. Everyone's talking about Malik Neighbors. That offense is going to be garbage. Some people are throwing out Lad McConkey.
I wonder who that is.
But everyone's missing the point. They should be talking about Brian Thomas Jr. I understand it's kind of a homer pick, but I'm all over him. I think he's going to explode in this offense. I think sprinkling money as a betting guy on potentially rookie of the year on him wouldn't necessarily be a bad idea. I think he has a high ceiling.
Wide receivers, my friend.
You never know.
You know what I've heard? Vacated targets go to the running back.
Yeah, but there's 251 vacated targets.
Dude, Travis Etienne's better. This year.
I'm actually really kind of excited about the Jags offense. But that's, like, your little spiel there is definitely going to make me pick up. Is it BTJ or just BJ?
BTJ, Brian Thomas Jr. So I'm all in on him as a sleeper player because I don't think anyone is talking about him.
Is he getting more yards than Calvin Ridley this year?
Oh, easily.
No.
Easily.
Interesting. I'd be willing to.
Well, I'm going to win $5 for my week 1 bet with him, so I'll put that down.
I'll take that bet.
I take that Titans offense, but it is tempting.
I put a 5 on there.
Well, let's talk about it because Hopkins would be the wide receiver 1 there. And BTJ has a chance to be the wide receiver 1 for the Jags. So.
What do you think over Kirk?
It
depends. It just comes down to their roles.
Is that what you're saying, though, wide receiver 1?
Because Trevor Lawrence he clearly showed last year he wants to target the X. Like he was looking at Ridley almost every play, but really doesn't have the body type to be a number 1 wide receiver. He's good. I'm not saying he's not good. I loved Calvin Ridley. Like, I loved when we acquired him and traded for him, but he just didn't work out because we were trying to fit him into a role that he can't play. He doesn't have the body type to be an X. So now you bring in an actual X who's got crazy fast speed. You can just lob it up to him, and he's a contested catch guy. He can make those catches that are 50-50 balls. Like, I think he's gonna explode in the offense this
I'm
year.
high on him. I now have him over Neighbors.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's not crazy to me at all.
Well,
That's also because Neighbors' situation is pretty
yeah, but I never really thought about him as, he's definitely a sleeper to me.
Yeah.
Neighbors had 14 touchdowns. Last
Wow,
year.
that's crazy.
There you go.
So why wasn't BJ drafted higher?
Well, he may not have the talent that other guys do.
Was he first round?
He was first round.
Yeah.
He was like, what, 23rd, something like that?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I believe he was the third wide receiver.
I just wonder what Malik showed more of than he did.
Could be, or no, he was the fourth. Could be body type,
Yeah.
something like that. But, yeah, I don't know. I love BTJ this year. So, shout out BTJ. And then my second one, just an aside, it's Zeke. I told K-Dog the Cowboys are coming up. It's Zeke. Everyone thinks he's past it. I don't necessarily think he's got much juice left in the tank, but there's just so much opportunity in the offense. Someone's got to play well at running back.
Yeah, I feel like he could go for like 10 touchdowns this year. That wouldn't be crazy.
Oh, easily. I think he's going to be this year's Gus Edwards.
I could see that.
So last year, and I have some stats. So in the last 3 years, this is how many opportunities the running backs got in the Dallas offense. 2021, 523. 2022, 547. 2023, 470. So on average, the last 3 years, running backs in Dallas got 513 opportunities. They had 19 goal line carries, 18 touchdowns. Again, this is per year. And they averaged a total of 2,349 total yards from scrimmage.
I thought we were just going to gloss over your second pick there.
No,
But I think Dylan Johnson's actually going to take a lot of those touches. Sorry.
Okay, well, anyways. With Dallas was the number one scoring offense last
He
year.
just got cut by the Titans. I'm just hoping he lands with the
But
Cowboys.
no, Dallas was the number
I
one.
was saying, who the hell's Dylan
I was
Johnson?
confused about that.
UW
Being
running
on the
back?
Cowboys.
Oh.
I was
He
like,
got cut?
did I miss that?
Oh.
Being
They're
on the
lost.
Cowboys?
They're
Like,
lost.
They're
Poor
lost.
guy.
But anyways, no, I think just as an aside, I think Zeke has a really good opportunity to surprise some people. When most people think he's kind
I
of
thought
past
he
it.
was dead 3 years ago.
Most people, I did too.
Yeah,
but there's just so much. Someone's gonna take that opportunity.
What are the
and I don't like Rico Dowdle.
what do the Greyjoys say? What's dead may never die.
He's not dead yet, though.
Okay. Well,
So I don't want to follow that up.
I know he's like whipping out 100 different.
I don't
statistics.
got nearly as much as C-Dubs does.
That's
That's
got
why we call him
feelings.
C-Dubs, because he's a winner.
Anyways,
I wish I
all
had my soundboard set up for that one.
right, K-Dog, who's your underrated player? Your
Yeah,
sleeper
well,
player?
I did nearly as much research, just a little less, but I decided to go with this is a player going into their third year, also a wide receiver. His first 2 years have been pretty good, but I don't think to his full potential. But this year I think it's going to be a little different. He's someone I never think of, and that's Drake London of the Falcons. Now, I feel like everyone thinks he's good. Everyone knows about him. But I think with he's never gotten over 1,000 yards. Let's not forget he was the 8th overall pick 2 years ago. I mean, the number one wide receiver that year. And now with Kirk Cousins coming through, I think he has a great opportunity to have his best year yet. Maybe even finish as a top 10 wide receiver. What do you guys think?
I think I could almost, or anybody could almost have him in their overrated
Really?
slot, just because I think everyone expects him to have that type of finish because now he has Kirk Cousins.
Right.
He produced, or Jefferson was able to produce so well with Kirk, and London's still the wide receiver one there, so that's why I'm a little surprised you did him as a sleeper.
I don't know. He's just, I guess for me personally, I just never think about him.
Do you think he could be top 5?
No, I don't think so.
Because that would be like... Because here's my thing.
I'd say top 8.
I could see that. Because you look at, like, the Vikings offense last year. All passing. Wasn't really running the ball a whole lot.
very much
think about Kirk Cousins now, right? They got Bijan, so you have to consider that. But Kirk Cousins, he's coming back from the injury. He's going to be not mobile.
Still, you got Penix
He'll be fine.
if necessary.
If Penix and Penix isn't a mobile guy either. I think like they keep saying offense is going to go through Bijan, which I can see, but that could be passing.
Oh, you're saying that's why he'll be passing more?
I think so. Yeah. Obviously, like you can handle the ball off and give to Bijan, which I think they'll do a hefty amount of, like just as much as last year. Well, probably not as much as last year, which means I do think the Falcons players in general are going to eat.
Yeah.
But like to be a sleeper, because I agree with what Coop's saying.
I don't know. I just feel like if you ask who are your top 10 wide receivers in the NFL, you're never going to say Drake London.
But that's what this podcast is about. Like that's where you make your ballsy calls.
So I think he has a good potential to finish.
You're marking your K-Dog territory.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
on
right
this
now.
guy calling out Drake
what?
London.
Top 10?
Yeah, he will be top 10.
I hope to God
So,
he's on my dynasty.
I will say I do like the call because their depth chart is really barren.
Awful.
So their wide receiver 2 is Darnell Mooney.
Well, no.
I've heard Kyle Pitts is going to be
their
a
wide receiver
hybrid.
too.
Well,
hybrid
that's fair,
receiver.
but I'm just saying in terms of like actual wide receiver
why
positions.
why are you calling that
It's
the good
Darnell
sleeper
Mooney
call?
and Rondell Moore. Well, because
Shouldn't that be even more like?
well, no, it's just because he hasn't like he's put together solid seasons, but if he's going to take that step to the upper echelon, like I think it's kind of setting up for that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. If you think of elite receivers, you're not thinking of Drake London. I think what
Yeah,
K-Dog's
that's my
saying is
point,
after
yeah.
this
Well,
year, you're
he's
going to
gonna
think
be
of
But no one
elite.
thinks he's bad.
You're saying he's going to enter the elite.
yeah, you're going to take
Yeah.
that leap.
Well,
Okay.
because him, I see him and Garrett Wilson as almost two of the same.
Yeah, but Garrett
Two sides
Wilson
of the same coin.
is showing a lot more.
Two
Though,
sides
I
of the
think.
same, because they haven't had that quarterback to really show that they're elite.
Sure, yeah.
So I feel like this might be a big year for them to hop into that next tier. So, but I feel like a lot of people are thinking that every year. It's like, last year Garrett Wilson was supposed to have Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Everyone was like, drafted him either first or second round if you're doing fantasy. And I feel like because London only had Riddler, nobody was really drafting that high. So if you were to say it
Can you put some respect on Riddler's name, bro?
if you were to say it last year, you were like, I
Sure.
think even with Riddler,
Well, okay. Well, I'll go ahead and say
London.
London's going to be ahead of Olave. He's going to be ahead of Garrett Wilson.
Okay, that's not a high mark.
Who
though.
else? Who else is?
because that's the tier. That's like the Olave.
Are you going to
London.
have him in your top 10 list when we do top 10 wide receivers?
I mean,
You have to.
If it's like if we're doing it as a projection, yes. I will.
I want to see 8, 9, or 10. Drake London better be in there. Or I'm
Alright.
calling for a reform on your.
I mean, I love the call though. Like, there's nothing wrong with it, but
There's a lot of fun discussion. I'm actually excited to talk about the NFC South this year.
Yeah.
I actually think there's some teams that
Some
are
bounce around
kind of
there.
interesting.
Yeah. Maybe one in particular.
Panthers. Huh?
Yeah, just talking about them. I really want to talk about the Panthers in this episode, but I felt like I couldn't. All right, I'll hop in with my sleeper players. This is, as I mentioned before the pod, it's a rookie coming in from FSU, running back,
Oh,
I'm familiar with
drafted
this game.
by the Cardinals.
really?
You got a little Trey Benson.
I thought you were gonna say Keon Coleman, but I forgot he's not running.
So Trey Benson, first let me tell you about his physique.
okay,
6'3".
You seen this guy naked?
6'3", 211,
He's 6'3".
10 inches. Can't confirm that last part. What I really like, I mean, plenty of, for one, absolutely dominated at FSU. Got drafted in the third round, so there's some draft capital there. But I really like about Trey Benson is actually his situation moving in with the Cardinals. We've seen James Conner. He's 29, very good running back still, and definitely will be the one coming into the season. However, he has been known to get injured and be out for multiple spans of time. And Trey Benson, when he gets that opportunity to be the lead back for the Cardinals, will be no slouch. And let's talk about just the situation that we're looking at with the Cardinals. Drafted Marvin Harrison, Kyler Murray a year back off the injury, Trey McBride. A lot of great offensive pieces around this Cardinals offense, especially when we're looking at a Kyler Murray ground attack, passing through the air, which will then ultimately open up the ground game, which Trey Benson is just going to be an absolute fiend taking yards after contact and just demolishing defenses. I actually kind of see this, and this I might get a little slack for this. This is also might be a little bit of like a Baltimore-like offense. I could see it looking like this year, which I know everyone was saying. I know everyone said they're clowning on me last year because I was clowning on Baltimore.
So what do you mean by that? Is Marvin Harrison not going to have over 1,200 yards?
He could.
Are you saying he's going to get the starting job outright?
No.
Trey Benson?
Because
No,
the only
not
way
really.
he could be a sleeper is if he plays.
He's gonna be playing. Trust me. I think he will be
You gotta see the field.
halfway at least. As long as if Sid Connor's healthy through like the first
Sure.
8-9 games, like I think he'll be the starter. However, I do think Benson's gonna have a monster second half. I think he will be the starter by 8 halfway through the season if Connor does not get injured.
You love taking starter bets.
So what if he starts? Well, no. What if Connor doesn't get hurt though? Do you think they just run him into the ground because it's his last year of his contract?
Yeah, for sure.
And so then Benson just.
I think
Because I like it. I like Trey Benson as a player. I'm not hating on the take. I'm
sure.
Yeah.
I think you got to get the rookie reps. So like I think he'll get in there. If Connor doesn't get hurt, I think Benson becomes a starter like 8 or 9th game of the season. I could see that happening. And then get him reps. See what an NFL offense is like. It also kind of depends on how the Cardinals project to be this season. And I think I actually think they're going to be relevant in the division.
Maybe a sleeper team?
Not my sleeper team.
Just my only concern is that he could end up with a lot of these rookie running backs because a lot of them aren't starting. My only concern is that they could become like Zach Charbonnet last year, where he has like a good game or two, but he's just stuck. Like he can't. I'm not saying Zach Charbonnet is better than K9, but just from the standpoint of like he's talented, but he doesn't really have a run to show that.
Yeah.
He's just like stuck getting 20 snaps a game or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I like it.
Yeah,
I don't think Connor can stay healthy, so I think Trey Benson is going to explode.
Yeah, I think it's going to be awesome. Plus like 6'3", 211. I mean, come on. All right, second player. This is my little sneak peek. Doesn't really like stupid player that I like. You guys this might be a hot one. Austin Eckler, Washington Commanders.
Bounce back.
I do think there's a little bit of bounce back potential for him in this Commanders offense. One, it's just improved in general, right? We're not dealing with Sam Howell. We have a new quarterback in Daniels.
We like Sam Howell.
You'd hate to deal with that guy.
Yeah, not my favorite. I think there's going to be plenty of opportunities for dump-offs, and Austin Eckler thrives in that kind of scenario. I honestly think he was fine with the Chargers before he got hurt, and then that kind of just damaged the rest of the season.
Yeah.
So honestly, I kind of like him, like especially like as a fantasy. Like I don't know what round he's going in right now, but like a sneaky late pick,
Deep.
like some value.
I think he's getting picked before Brian Robinson right now, though.
I think it's gonna be a great. I think it's gonna be a great
He'll be
tandem.
an AB.
Yeah, I like that pick. I feel like everyone's written him off.
Yeah,
So I like that.
I wouldn't say sleeper. I would just say bounce back.
sleeper. Because he's also on my dynasty team, so he needs to be a sleeper this year.
All these guys are on dynasty teams.
The Trey Benson's also on my dynasty team.
Yeah, okay.
I also have a guy on my dynasty team I'm about to talk about. So it's my turn. I don't have a lot of stats. I got a lot of feelings, though. So this guy, I feel like I'm really the only person that's ever talked about this guy. Until I did a little Reddit search, and then a lot of people might be talking about this guy
Calvin
now.
Austin.
No.
Calvin Austin. What happened to
So
that guy?
this guy is coming into a new team. It's his sixth season.
Oh.
Coming into a very wide open wide receiver room where there isn't really a wide receiver one.
Oh. I think I might know this.
You guys know who I'm talking about? Well,
Gabe Davis.
he's on the right track. DJ Chark is my sleeper. Because
What team
Who
is
does
he
he play
on?
for now?
Damn.
it's on the Chargers, man.
Oh,
It's on the
okay.
Chargers,
All
who
right.
have drafted Lad McConkey, QJ, Quentin
Huge.
Johnson,
Right, right.
Huge, Joshua Palmer. Those are the three guys that he's really competing with, and there's a lot of unproven talent. I don't know. You know, those guys aren't very proven,
Sure.
right? The only guy that's really proven is Joshua Palmer, but he
There's
only
no alphas in the offense.
yeah, there's no alpha there. So, in 2019 was really DJ Chark's breakout season with the Jags. He ended up finishing wide receiver 16 if you play fantasy. And then he got hurt, and then he went to the Panthers last year. I mean, you're not going to do much on that offense. You might see something out of it this year, but you know that's just not a winning situation. But he's coming somewhere who has a really good QB in Justin Herbert. Wide receiver room's open. He's kind of like that Mike Will type of field stretcher that Justin Herbert had before. And when Mike Will had a healthy season there, he finished wide receiver 10. So I'm looking at DJ Chark to have a big season because it's going to help my dynasty team a lot.
Dog. Come
No,
on.
but I think this is a prime example of a sleeper because nobody's really talking about DJ Chark. Nobody's thinking about it. They're thinking, oh, it's.
I mean,
it's
most
Ryan
of us didn't even
McConkey.
know what team he was on. So
Exactly.
like,
Do you trust the Reddit hive mind? Is this Reddit?
No, this isn't Reddit at all. This is
Okay.
me. because I saw a
But aren't you
talented.
part of the Reddit Hive, man?
Sure, I add comments. But I saw a player who had a good season once upon a time, who maybe hasn't put together a complete season in a while, or has played on pretty bad teams. It's coming into a good situation.
He was with Detroit last year, right?
Panthers.
2 years.
He was
ago.
with
2 years ago.
Oh,
was
so
with
he's
Detroit.
a journeyman. He's been
A little
around
bit of a
for while.
journeyman. It's only a 6th season though. He's not like some old head.
But drafted by
the
Jaguars.
Yeah.
So that's my guy. Probably wide receiver 2 finish. Maybe even wide receiver top 20. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll
I
see.
dig it. I dig it.
We'll see.
No, I like those.
Well,
like
I mean,
all the
okay, who's he
projections.
got to beat out? QJ. who
He has
did
no
nothing
competition.
last year. Ladd McConkey, he doesn't even play the same role. The only other guy, Joshua Palmer.
I was going to say,
perhaps.
Palmer's the only one that I could see getting in
but
there.
he's going to be a starting wide
he's a
receiver.
Jag.
Yeah.
He's just another guy. Like, he's not like
I
Palmer
mean,
special.
Chark could be a Jag, but
Yeah, well,
he was traded.
He was a Jag.
So yeah, that's what I got there.
Nice.
I dig it.
So I feel like you guys kind of went with the big names. And,
Yeah, no, that's fine. Overrated players next?
Yeah,
I like your value. Good value. It's a good shot in the dark.
it is.
Do you want to keep the same order?
Sure.
All right. We're into overrated players now. And there's only one person that this could be. Aaron Rodgers. Not a doubt in my
I
mind.
love that.
Not a doubt in my mind. He's one of the most overrated players nowadays. I don't have as many stats as before, but what I can tell you is this: over the last 3 healthy seasons, so from 2020, when did he win MVP in 2020? He almost did. He was up there.
He won it in the last 5 years for sure.
Yeah, so I think that was probably 2020. Since his 2020 season, his quarterback rating, his completion percentage, his total yards for the year, and his total touchdowns that he's thrown have decreased in 2021 and 2022 by a significant portion. I believe his yards went down 500 or 600 in just like those 3-year gap. His touchdowns went down by like 12 or 13. The only thing that went up, his interceptions, which tripled since 2020. Obviously, last year he had the Achilles injury, so he's coming off of that. I don't think the Jets are necessarily going to be a bad team because they do have their defense, which is still really stout. So I think their defense is going to keep them in games. But I just think Aaron Rodgers has passed it. I know I mentioned it on our season wrap up, but Jordan Love came into the Packers team with the exact same weapons Aaron Rodgers had in 2022, and look what he did with them last year. And Rodgers couldn't do it.
They were a year
What
older.
about?
Yes, they were a
What
year
about
older,
that
but-
Jets wide receiver core with Mike Williams?
Okay, Mike Williams.
But,
is
okay, why did you
not-
start with Mike Williams?
Well, I was gonna end strong. Mike
Randall
Williams,
Cobb.
Garrett Wilson, and some people are
He's going in
saying
ascending
Devontae
order.
Adams is going there.
No.
Well,
he squashed them.
well, no. I mean, I will tell you, like Garrett Wilson. I won't give you Mike Williams. I think Mike Williams is garbage. He's past it. But Garrett Wilson.
I disagree. I disagree.
Garrett-
I'm drafting.
When was the last
Sleeper?
time,
Is
when
that
was the
your
last
sleeper
time
player?
Mike Williams played more than half the season?
Well, that's fair. But when he's
he doesn't
when
have
he's out
ACLs.
there-
That's the thing with Mike
when he's-
Williams.
I'm still believe. I might draft him in fantasy this
Well, that's
year.
fair.
All right, we'll let you take
You can
him.
get him in your
But
15th round.
but no, I just think like even if I mean like all the Packers wide receivers his last year there, yes they were young and rookies or whatnot, but it's like they were getting open and Rodgers was just missing them or he was underthrowing his deep balls. I think he's past it honestly. I think he's past his prime, and I think I also think that his motivation behind playing is it may not be there. Like, and I don't like questioning it or when like the Sports Center talking heads be like I don't know if he's motivated, but the guy's just kind of weird. Like he missed mini camp because he was in Egypt. Like
he paid $50,000 to go to Egypt. Did you hear that? He had to pay a fine for that.
well,
That's nothing.
yeah, but I know it's nothing for him. But still,
Yeah.
I just don't think he's all in. I don't know how he's gonna react coming off of the Achilles. I know he doesn't run or cut, but it's still it's still a torn Achilles, right? Like, and so at the end of the day, I just think Aaron Rodgers has passed it.
Yeah, so I got a couple things.
Okay.
So the Falcons and the Jets, I see as very similar teams.
I would agree
both
with that.
have QBs coming off Achilles. Who do you think is going to finish better? Kirk?
I think
or
they're
A-Rod?
Talking about
both.
quarterback specifically or teams?
Quarterbacks. I was going to do 3, but they're different. Quarterbacks.
Give me Kirk.
I would lean Kirk.
London or Wilson.
Well, if I'm leaning Kirk, then I gotta
You'd
go
have to.
London.
And then you'd go Falcons. They're going to have a better record than
Yeah,
the Jets.
Yeah. Just because they're playing easier competition.
Sure. Okay. So you just like Kirko Chains better
Yeah.
I don't. I don't agree about Aaron Rodgers. I think he's in for a big year, personally.
I think he might smash some records.
Yeah.
Really?
Some
Maybe
like drug records.
Yeah, right. He does. I do worry about his health, though.
He's weird, though.
He's frail,
sure.
man. Yeah. I was just. You were like. You said he doesn't like run. He doesn't cut. I was just imagining him like moving side to side. I just kind of cringed.
Well.
I was like,
I mean, this is arguably his best team in years that he's had, right? I mean,
Yeah.
on offense, great defense.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be. A
I
big
think
year.
I see why you're saying he's overrated.
Well, like I said, I don't necessarily think the Jets are going to be bad. I just think Rodgers is past it. But
Yeah.
and then honorable mention, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but it's DeAndre Swift. I don't think
let's move on.
anyone's talking about him. DeAndre Swift is overrated.
Just
Nobody thinks he's that great.
I know, that's why I said no one
I
thinks he's
do. I
overrated.
like him.
That was
Who are you?
that was his honorable mention.
I like him.
I
Sleeper.
really
like
like
him.
Swift coming out of college.
He had
I
a
don't know if you
great
guys
year
remember
last year at the
but-
Eagles.
He's a horrible
Well,
running
why
back.
did they get rid of him then?
I have
He had,
stats to
you know why
back
he
it
had
up.
Saquon.
wait, you know why he had a great year? Because they had a great O line.
Well, yeah,
Bingo.
sure. That's fair.
His PFF ranked lines in 2020, 2021, and 2022 were 13, 11, 9, and he didn't have more than 617 rushing yards in all three of those years.
Well, he's a little injured.
He's been blessed.
No, he played 13 games or more in all three of those seasons. He's just not a good running back.
Dude, don't argue with C-Dubs when he's got the notebook.
Honestly, I get what you're saying.
I'll be
though,
back
'cause
in
he
episode
passes-
2 with some DeAndre Swift.
He passes the like the visual test.
No, he does, and I loved him coming out of college too. But I mean, now especially he's going to the Bears. The Bears' offensive line is ranked 11th in PFF this year.
That's actually
Pretty good,
pretty
yeah.
Yeah, but it's in that range where he had it with
Khalil
Detroit,
Herbert.
13, 11,
Okay,
and 9.
so there you go.
That's my
Draft
sleeper.
DeAndre
And you
Swift.
have Khalil Herbert and
Herbert.
Roshan
Should've
Johnson
done
there
it,
too.
Dude,
So
but there might be a
It's not
Bears
honorable.
too many mouths to feed thing.
I think
Roshan
the
Johnson
Bears are
sucks,
overrated,
though.
but that's a topic for another
That's.
I would
agree-
love-
I
That's
agree
a
with
topic
that.
for me.
We should
All right.
we should talk some over under win totals for some teams.
We can get
That's
into
a good
that
idea.
We should do that.
in our divisional previews.
Yeah.
Tune in, folks.
More coming down the pipeline, baby.
I'm looking forward to DeAndre Swift and Mike Williams carrying me to a fantasy championship this
Dude.
year.
I will enjoy
Alright.
free wins against K-Dog in fantasy.
All right, I'll do my overrated player. Now, this player, you guys might give me, some flack about this one too. I don't know that he's necessarily overrated in real life, but in fantasy, I think he certainly is. That player is Jalen Hurts.
I like this one. I like
I mean,
this.
last year was like a clear. I mean, so 2 years ago when they go to the Super Bowl, he was, I think, second in MVP voting. He had a great year. Last year was a clear regression passing wise. I mean, he had 23 touchdowns and 15 interceptions. Pretty bad year passing. I mean, his quarterback rating went from 101 to only 89, which is pretty low nowadays in the NFL. He did somehow have, well, I shouldn't say somehow, but he had 15 rushing touchdowns last year.
Crazy.
Tush push.
Yeah, with the tush push. I mean, he's had double-digit rushing touchdowns each of the last 3 years, I believe. But I just don't think it's I don't think it's sustainable. I think it's been proven that he's not a great passer, and I think those 15 rushing touchdowns. I mean, there's no way he's going to copy that. I think it's with Jason Kelsey being gone. Like, is the tush push going to work anymore? I don't know.
I was just going to ask you.
I don't think any of us know that. And then with Saquon in the backfield too, you would think he's going to take some of those goal line touches. So I don't know. I don't know if Jalen Hurts. I don't know how he's ranked this year with quarterbacks. I imagine he must be top 5.
He's top 5.
But I'm kind of thinking I wouldn't draft him personally.
Hey,
I was
let him
gonna-
fall to me then.
I was going to ask you. I was going to say, do you think it's sustainable? Because they weren't doing tush pushes 2 years ago, were they? 3 years ago.
I mean, last
that was
year is when
remember-
everyone talked about
I
it.
remember they were 2 years ago because they were trying to ban it. They didn't ban it, and then they were able to do it this year.
Wasn't
Or
it
this last
debuted
year.
in the Super Bowl when they lost to Kansas City? Wasn't that the first time they started?
I don't know.
I remember it was like picking up steam in the playoffs because Jalen Hurts had 3 rushing touchdowns in the Super Bowl against them, and it was
Good
just
Lord.
rushing in quotations, and it was the same thing.
Who's a better
All right.
passer, Lamar Jackson or Jalen Hurts?
I don't know. Personally, I'd pick Lamar.
I'd pick Jalen all day.
I
But I'll also give you his receivers.
I do have one thing. What do you think about, because K-Dog, obviously you're a Cowboys fan,
Mm-hmm.
so the new Philly offensive coordinator is Kellen Moore.
So bad.
What do you think about that for Jalen Hurts? Does that change your take at all?
Oh.
I'm just curious.
It's part of the take.
It
I
could be
mean,
part
don't
of
get me wrong. Like, the Eagles have a strong offense, obviously. With Saquon. I mean, I
Right.
think Saquon's kind of a question mark, to be honest. At this
I
point
agree
in
with
his
that.
career.
I agree with that.
But I mean, they have great players. Still a great offensive line, even without Kelsey. Kellen Moore, I don't miss him in Dallas.
Dude, he's been
Okay.
bad wherever he's gone.
So,
I'm
so it
sorry.
doesn't move the needle on the
I
Hurts
don't
take.
think so.
I was just throwing it
He's
out.
literally been
That's a
in-
great point, though. I forgot about that.
literally
That's
been
a
in
good point.
Dallas, in LA,
Yeah.
and then now he's in Philly. So why are you saying he's been bad everywhere he's been?
Bad
Also,
with
he
Dallas.
was one of the all-time greatest college football quarterbacks. So
The
no, he's
Cowboys
not
did
been
have-
bad everywhere
The
he's been.
Cowboys did have a great offense.
That doesn't make any sense, huh?
He's not been. He was
The
not.
Cowboys
Been,
had a record, like they were top 5 in offense like almost every year he was there.
he was, but the offense
He's just
was
saying
way
this to
better
get.
last
He's
year.
just saying this to get clicks. That's it.
And the offense was awful.
He's
The
gonna
Chargers'
make- he's gonna-
offense was
he's gonna
not
make a
awful
TikTok about it.
before Mike Williams got hurt, and then Justin Herbert got hurt. What's he supposed to do with fucking Easton Stick, bro? Are you serious?
I'm tired of. We don't need to hear.
Is that a Pokemon
Chargers
card?
talk.
Who is Easton Stick?
Kellen Moore is awful.
Dropping the F bomb.
That's
over
why-
here.
that's why-
Pissed
Well, I
off
like
he
it.
got
I
me.
like the take. I like the take.
That's why the Eagles. That's why, dude. We had a dynasty draft earlier. Superflex. We both. Coop and I were 4 and 5. Hurts fell to both of us. We faded both of them. Or we both faded them.
Well, because I already have him in another dynasty, so why would I want to?
All right.
If you did,
All
would
right.
you have taken him?
Probably.
Okay.
Prof, who's your
All right.
overrated
All
player?
right, it's a guy we've really talked about today. It's Calvin Ridley.
Calvin Ridley.
I do not think Calvin Ridley is a good wide receiver.
Who's saying he's rated, bro? Like, I wouldn't say he's overrated. Nobody's really talking about him.
I think
I
if
feel
he
like-
was on a better offense, I'd be pretty high on
He's
him.
a
feel
wide
like-
receiver 2 on the Titans. Nobody thinks
We
he's
were
going to be better than
we were
that.
stoked about him going to the Jaguars.
This was last year, so he's overrated last year.
And then all of a
Been
sudden,
there, done that.
And now,
Pick a new guy.
And now I'm hearing some chatter. I'm hearing some chatter in the
Coop's fired up right now.
in the fantasy streets about somehow the Titans are going to take this god awful team and turn it around and be a good offensive team this year. I keep hearing this chatter. People are talking.
Fade.
Where? Who? What?
It's me, baby.
And how? Who
I've
is
made 100 different accounts saying Titans are
The
going to win
Reddit
the
hive mind is
division,
right
baby.
here.
Dude, Coop's leading the red high mind. Yeah, look, Calvin Ridley with the Jaguars last year, barely over 1,000 yards. Which, to be fair, 1,000 yards is a good season. It's a reasonable season. How many games do you think he got held under 40 yards?
Probably 6.
A lot.
Like 10.
I watched so many of them.
10 games held under 40 yards.
He also dropped a lot of balls.
Also dropped a lot
Pissed me off.
So how is he overrated?
because, like I said,
He's
we
already
think-
shown he stinks.
Because that's what I'm saying. I'm telling you why he stinks. Because people think he's going into the Titans are going to dominate with him and old ass DeAndre Hopkins.
Okay, DeAndre Hopkins hasn't really lost a step.
Like, and guess what? Offensive
there.
line worse going to the Titans.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
They just drafted a top 10 line.
Yeah, well, that one
Top
guy
10
is.
pick
You know what?
lineman.
As I was
you know,
writing
Brian
this,
Callahan's coming from the Cleveland Browns.
as I
Wait,
was-
he brought his dad over from the Cleveland Browns, who has like
He's
a
from
historically
Cincy.
great.
Callahan's from Cincy. His dad
Okay.
was the Browns.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but historically great O lines.
okay, well, I'm talking about preseason off.
I'm talking.
Offensive
You didn't
line
actually look
rankings.
into your little stats.
I
here,
did.
buddy.
I did. It's. Let me tell you who quoted that. It was Sharp Football
No, this is
Analysis. Look, new head coach, new team, new quarterback. Banana guy, mayonnaise guy.
What is that?
What is
I don't
that?
get the reference, but
You don't get that reference.
So okay, what do you think about? So I know I highlighted.
Like, I just think
I highlighted BTJ earlier. Do you think that I mentioned that I thought Ridley was in the wrong role last year in the Jags offense? Do you think that will make any difference? Potentially having.
No.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
All
So.
right. All right.
I don't. I think I'm fading.
You think he's past the?
I'm fading Tony Pollard. I'm fading Calvin Ridley. I'm fading DeAndre Hopkins. I'm fading Will Levis. I'm fading their defense. I'm fading their cheerleaders. I'm fading the people.
They're
of
ugly. You heard it here
Tennessee.
first.
I mean, you were just in Tennessee. Can you vouch for that? Them being ugly.
They're pretty attractive.
So
cannot
I will.
vouch
I
for
will
that.
say that I'm kind of a believer that like Ridley will have some sort of bounce back from last year. Like that was his first year back after his suspension. He's not going to be like NFL completely ready.
What was he
think.
suspended for?
I don't know. What was it?
Listening to C-Dub's locks.
So I can see him having that little.
Do you want to put a
little sort of
fiver on
bounce
over under 1,000 yards?
I'll get to it. How about that? All right, overrated player.
Calvin Ridley.
Puka Nakua.
This is hot. All right.
Puka Nakua.
Let's hear it. The guy who just broke the rookie record for receptions, right?
So this guy.
And on my dynasty team.
Why do you think I targeted him?
Yeah, I knew it.
This guy. So this guy had kind of the perfect storm last year, I believe. I mean, he was coming into a wide receiver the room that was just like nobody there. It was kind of decimated because Cooper Kupp got hurt. And he's a good wide receiver. I'm not saying he's a bad wide receiver and it was a fluke or anything. I'm just saying people are projecting him to be the number one alpha dog on the Rams he's going to have to either, tie his season last year, do just as well, or exceed it, which is just practically impossible. So we're setting him up to be overrated just because of what we expect from him. And, as long as Cooper Kupp doesn't tweak his calf or hamstring like he did last year, he should be 100% going into the season. Kupp and Stafford have always had a connection. If anything, Kupp's probably the sleeper on this team, who could have another. What are you looking at me?
How many games did Cooper Kupp miss last year?
He missed quite a bit. Like 6.
Are people seriously, if assuming both are healthy, do people seriously think that Puka is better than Cooper
But
Kupp?
you can't assume going into the season assuming Cooper Kupp is healthy or going to remain healthy the entirety of the season.
That's what you're going into the season thinking Trey Benson's going to take over in week 9 because James Conner's getting hurt. Isn't that the same exact thing? Except the opposite.
But people make projections based on that all the time.
So,
but I'm saying I think your projection is wrong. You cannot do that.
There you go. You heard it here first.
We were talking about the Chargers last year and how their offense would be stanky because all the wide receivers get hurt, and look what happened. They all got hurt.
Okay, you can...
And also kill them more, but...
Broken clocks, right? Twice a week, right?
A day.
So I'm saying, of course,
14 times
you're going to hit... Right, obviously. But I'm just saying, you can hit projections, and then you can run around the table and say, oh, I did it, but... At the end of the day, you also miss. We all miss 90% of the projections we make.
Is the Rams' offense going to be better or worse than last year?
They are NFC West. I don't want them to be better, but I think with Cooper Kupp playing a full season healthy, then yeah, they should be better.
And how good is their defense?
It doesn't matter. That's why I'm saying Puka's not going to be able to replicate what he did.
I think there's even more opportunity.
He's being drafted. He's being drafted in the first round of fantasy.
I agree. Why? That's too far. I think second or third is fair, but
I think mid-second would be fair. I wouldn't say third. That's crazy. If he drops to third, I'm scooping his ass up. That's a good ass deal, right?
Early third.
No,
that's what all the bums over on the NFL fantasy app do. Sorry if you guys use that.
Anyways, I'm just saying, Puka, he's a great player. I wish we had him at UW. He would have won us the Natty.
We did have him at UW.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I wish we kept him.
Jesus.
God. But I saw C-Dubs over there nodding his head. I think he's in a bit of an agreement.
I know. I am. I love Puka. He's going to be my keeper in one of my big leagues.
I'm not saying he's going to be
no. And
a wide receiver 2 or anything.
I think you're spot on with the fact that the Storm, everything was right with Cooper Kupp being injured last year. I think with a healthy Cooper Kupp, I think it's the torch is starting to get passed, but I don't think it's completely there yet.
I'd say this is probably Cooper's last hurrah, I would say.
Probably.
And he could say, hey,
probably Stafford's too.
Yeah, this is still my team. This is what I can do. That's why I'm really pushing hard to get him on my dynasty team.
Jesus. We got to stop doing this.
But, after this next season, I think, it's going to be Puka's team. It's just not that time yet.
No, that's fair.
So we saw what he's going to be, but it's just not going to be the same coming into this season.
No, I like it. I like it.
1,000 yards? Over, under?
I'll take it. I think he's still going to be great. No, probably not. No, he's over. I think he's going to be great. He's just not going to be...
How about 1,500 yards?
I'm done. Let's go.
All right.
So you should have slammed yes on it.
MVP?
Yeah, MVP.
MVP. So I'm saving my stats for later on this one.
Okay. It's your Super Bowl team.
He's my Super Bowl team.
Oh.
And he debuted a new look a couple days ago.
Joey B.
I'm talking about Joey B, baby.
Ken.
I'm talking about Joseph Burrow.
Slim
Jizzy.
Burrow. It's cold in the room. I think...
Slim Glizzy.
Like I said, whoa.
He'd slob on that knob.
I think, again, I'll get into this when I'm talking about my Super Bowl team. Obviously, if you can put 2 and 2 together, you can tell that my Super Bowl team is going to be the Bengals. But, I love Joe Burrow this year. I think he's going to come out pissed off and with a vengeance. I think Cincinnati addressed a lot of the issues they had last year, particularly with the offensive line. They have one of the best defensive lines in football. It's just been a really underrated. Yeah.
Well,
Hendrickson. They paid...
I don't really know who else, to be honest.
No, they paid Sheldon Rankins got the bag. They have they drafted Chris Jenkins from Michigan, who destroyed UW in the Natty, which sucks. They have another wide. Oh, Hubbard. Hubbard's on their D line too. So they have a really sneaky D line.
Yeah.
Bengals are ranked. This website again, it's got them 9th O line.
And again, I'll get into why I like him, but I think that Joe is coming back off of a really couple of seasons where it's just been injury plagued. And what?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Okay.
Come on, is back. Is that what we're talking?
Excuse me? Antonio Brown?
No, but I think they're gonna try to just they're just gonna ball out this year. T's on his last year. Chase is waiting for a deal. They're gonna extend Chase. They will get his extension.
So you're not worried at all about his injury?
So
Do you remember seeing that injury happen?
No, I know, and
That's scary.
I am concerned.
That's just
But
throwing
he's
it.
a full go right now for training camp, which gives me confidence. If they were saying, I'm iffy on whether he'll be ready for the preseason games or we're keeping him safe for week 1, then I would start to have a little bit of caution there. But I think he's going to come out and rip.
I just think anything because it's a.
He is made of glass,
risk-related.
though.
I just think anything like that, he's gonna be throwing. I don't know how many times a season.
A lot.
A lot. So I'm just saying how many times once that's repaired, is he gonna be able to make it through the season?
I don't know. No, it's a fair.
Are we gonna see our boy Jacob Brown?
We might.
Oh,
we
that'd be
might.
awesome.
And like I said, I'll go. I'm saving some of my reasons
Yeah.
behind it for the Super Bowl thing, but I think he's going to have a really good, strong bounce back season, and I think if all the chips fall right, he might be MVP. So
Well, that's kind of how it is for a lot of these players.
I know. Yeah. Well, there's some long shot MVPs that I like, but in terms of just hey, I think he could win it. I would go with Joey B.
I will say I did consider Joe Burrow, and then I looked at his stats last year, but
Yeah.
Can't do.
The hard thing that you have to
I know,
remember
but
is
O-line upgrade. And,
no, but at the
and it was
beginning
more.
of last year, the first month, he took it was basically the first 4 weeks of the season was him getting into football shape because he injured his knee in preseason, and so his first snaps he was taking since the 2022 season were week 1.
Did he?
So it took him a little bit to get those
Has he
wheels
already
going.
won one?
What?
MVP?
No.
Not in his Super Bowl season.
No.
Okay.
He's third in odds right now, I will say.
In all honesty, it's probably going to be Mahomes, but I'm picking Joey.
No.
It wasn't last year, and he won the Super Bowl.
That's fair.
Which, funny enough, Lamar was 5th, which I was kind of surprised by.
All right, K-Dog, who you got?
Mine is short and sweet. It's an obvious one, but I feel strongly about
Come
it.
on,
I got
do it.
Mahomes. I got
Oh, I thought you were
Screw
saying Dak
you.
Prescott.
I thought he was going to say Dak too.
No, don't be ridiculous. No, Mahomes. I think he's perfectly set up. I mean, the offense for last year, we go on about how bad his wide receiver corps is. This year looks a lot different. I mean, you got Marquise Brown, you got the new rookie Xavier Worthy, you got Rashee Rice if he stays out of trouble, and then of course you got Travis Kelce. So
And Jared
easy
Wiley.
division too, easiest division in the NFL.
I don't know about that.
I think so.
With the new Chargers?
Yeah. Especially with the
What's that funny? They're going to be number 2 in the division.
No, they ain't.
Rated.
I just think
They ain't gonna
all
be
these
number
great
2.
quarterbacks,
I'm telling you that now.
they win a lot of
I'm telling you that
MVPs.
now, dog.
It's time for Mahomes to win.
It's not gonna
his
be
third.
Mahomes.
Time for Mahomes.
No, it's
Has he
He's
not
gonna
won
win his
one
third.
before?
He's gonna win his
Like
third
I
this
said,
year.
it's the
Time.
smart call.
Like-
K-Dog is...
It's boring.
What
but
is this?
I feel
It's not
strongly
boring.
about
What
it.
is this?
He's not-
Damn chili takes in
He's not-
here, bro.
Well, I'm just looking at the list. I don't like any of these guys. I mean, Joe
Turn up
Burrow's
the heat.
fine.
I'm surprised.
There's just nobody who I wanted to choose.
I'm
And he's-
shocked about that pick. You walked in, you felt the AC, and you go, oh, I'm going to cold takes today. All right.
Who you got? You're picking two.
Yeah,
of
watch
them?
him be like.
yeah.
I mean, who would be even close to that?
I mean, you guys
Let's
know...
all just guess.
I mean,
He's
Mahomes.
He
taking
would not
Lamar.
say
He's taking
Lamar.
Lamar.
I will kill you if you say Lamar.
No.
Well,
He's gonna say.
Are you
running
going
back.
CJ Stroud?
this player had a lot of conversation with Lamar last year.
Derrick
and
Henry.
I'm taking the guy
Say
who
Flowers.
I think should have won it last year.
Isaiah Likely. Oh, Brock Purdy.
Dak Prescott.
Oh,
All
what?
right, all right.
So we all remember.
I disagree, but
So, okay, well,
This is a prove it season.
let's hear it.
Sorry.
so let me tell you why Dak Prescott will be your MVP. Who, when he should have been last year, defeating Lamar. Dak, one, he needs to get paid. He's playing for some money here.
True.
Which, when you incentivize players with money, good things happen.
True.
And then when you pay guys, bad things happen. Trust me. Look, this offense is basically a repeat of last year, minus Tony Pollard and Michael Gallup. But what did Michael Gallup really offer? Not that much. This is going to be the Dak
He
Prescott,
retired. Did you guys hear that?
yeah, CD Lamb show, which is crazy because they decided to pay. No matter.
Right.
Look, this offense, like the Cowboys defense, they didn't really get a whole lot better. The offense, relatively the same. CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott are going to be absolute monsters together. Kellen Moore's not there to ruin this offense. And let me just remind you of some of the
Wasn't there
stats.
last year.
Let me remind you some of the stats of Dak Prescott last year. 3rd in passing yards, 1st in touchdowns, best touchdown to interception ratio.
Until
The rest of my
playoffs.
case.
What do you think about their offensive coordinator being Brian Schottenheimer, former Seahawks offensive coordinator?
I'm fine with that.
A little bit of nepotism in the
You
NFL.
think that's an upgrade over Kellen Moore?
Oh yeah, anything's Kellen Moore's bottom 3.
Let's not
offensive
underestimate Mike McCarthy's influence too. It's not just
It's also fair.
It's not just the shot
Yeah.
show.
No, that's
Thank
true.
God it's not.
Look, I think
He's
I think
not
Dak's
good.
just gonna be chucking it. He's gonna be.
That's
I mean,
fair.
like he's gonna be
He's
chucking
got his
it.
best friend back too, Zeke's there.
He
his
did
best
this
friend.
last year.
I know,
He didn't win.
and he had a great year. Did Dak have a bad year last year?
No.
Exactly.
So you're saying
I think
the
he's
only
gonna
way he
do-
doesn't win is if someone has some sort of outlier.
I think he's gonna have just as good a year as last year, if not better.
But what if the Cowboys finish 9-8?
Then, well, that's why I think the MVP award has issues because we just give it to whoever the best player on the best team is, aka Lamar.
So if they finish 9-8, you'd still be willing to give it to Dak?
Hell yeah, I would give it to the guy who played the best. If the best player,
How is he playing the best if he
Where's their
loses 8
soundboard?
games?
Where's their
if the
soundboard?
best player is on the Chicago White Sox, he should be MVP. And they finish in dead last.
But I don't think those things really happen.
White
If
Sox?
you have the best, if
To
you,
talk about
if you
baseball.
have the best quarterback in the league with the best stats, you're probably going to win more than 9 games.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd think.
Well, unless you have an atrocious defense.
Unless you just have some anomaly.
When the Ravens had the best defense in the league.
Right.
Wonder why?
Lamar's still bald.
Coop, who do you got?
I got Jalen Hurts.
Oh. Ew.
I mean, well, okay, hey, we're all picking top quarterbacks that finished well.
I was laughing
Who
because
has-
of his reaction.
who have
He made
been
me
in
laugh.
conversations for MVP. I think he's coming into a better scenario. I like Kellen Moore. I don't know what this big hoopla is
We
about.
talked about
on Saturday.
Kellen Moore far too
I
much. Can we ban him for this?
I know.
episode,
I'm just
please?
saying. Okay,
All
I
right,
like the
no
new
more.
OC there. I
Top
haven't
5
heard his
favorite offensive coordinator.
haven't heard his name yet, but I'm sure it'll be unveiled soon.
Is Kellen Moore not the OC there?
Jesus, are you an idiot?
What are you talking
You
about?
said we're not supposed to talk about that guy anymore.
Oh.
All right.
One last time.
Now
We'll call
we
him
have
Voldemort.
Now he's banned.
we have a new addition to the Jesus. There's an addition to the team named Saquon Barkley. I think that's going to change a lot. Unlike you guys, for whatever reason, you guys think this guy's washed now. He's 27 years old. He had a great season last year. He's always been with the Giants, who have been absolutely awful. Terrible O-lines, terrible quarterbacks, terrible receivers. Now he's playing with 2 of probably the top 15 receivers in the league. One of them's top 5 for sure. And the O-line there is great. We saw how it made DeAndre Swift look. We've seen how many touchdowns. Why am I talking about Barkley right now? Anyways, I'm just saying, I think this ecosystem that they've built in Philly is just going to boost Hurts even more. I think, like you said, he had 15 interceptions last year. That's awful. I think this is the type of guy that when he does really poorly, he gets in the lab and he gets to work. And he's not going to have that type of season again. He might not have as many tush pushes. That's why I didn't speak up when you guys were talking about these tush pushes. I think this guy squats 600 pounds. It doesn't matter if Jason Kelsey or K-Dog's in front of him. He's getting into the end zone, okay? I'm just saying. So, no, it doesn't matter. Saquon's going to take away some of these, but he's also going to be...
I don't think you just. I mean, I
Dog.
I think I get him a couple touchdowns, but I don't think you can totally discount.
No, sure.
Jason
I heard
Kelsey.
That's fine,
I think
but
that's a big loss.
I know their center that's coming up. I haven't looked too deeply into it, but it's supposed to be a pretty good center. So I think they're going to be...
They didn't,
Sure.
they didn't draft him, did they?
I don't know. He was waiting in the wings.
I like the contradicting takes.
I'm not done.
Oh,
I also think Saquon
Let him
is a
cook.
very good pass catcher as a running back. He's going to be getting Hurts yards that way, touchdowns. If anything, I'm a little more worried. I think Prophet Jay's take last year was Saquon MVP, right? Or Offensive Player of the Year. Something like that.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm getting a little kind of hesitation here, is that maybe Saquon is going to take too much away from Hurts to, like, they're going to be kind of a tandem that makes it so the Eagles do so well. But I do like Hurts having to bounce back interception-wise this year, and I like the OC there. He's going to scheme up a lot of good stuff.
I would say, just in terms of Saquon, I know you picked Hurts. And like I said, I like that we have contradicting viewpoints here. The only thing I would say on Saquon is I wouldn't say that I think he's overrated or anything like that. I just think he's lost a step. So I don't think he'll have those 60-yard burst runs anymore. I don't think he has that.
Where did he lose a step?
With age, with injuries. He doesn't look the same as when he first came into the league, which is obvious. But to me, I think, again, I'm not saying he's past it. He'll still play good, but I don't think you need to worry about him vulturing stuff.
Playing good or playing well, buddy?
He's playing like a bum, boy.
We're 27. Have we lost a step?
Yeah.
No, I've gained steps. Now, honestly, if anything, I've gotten more. But that's coming from
my sleeper
you just
player,
gonna cut me off?
Coop.
You gonna cut me off? That's just coming because we were doing that early on. But like it's the more we work out, lift, play sports into our age, I feel like we gain steps. Whereas obviously these top athletes.
Yeah, but we're not being tackled.
I know. Damn it.
Was that your finishing point?
All right, what's next?
All right. All right, last segment for this episode. We're doing Prez. All right, so we came with our top 5 coaches.
This is the last segment of this episode?
Yes.
Or the middle segment?
It's the last segment for this episode. And then we're going to do our top 5 coaches who we think would be presidents. All right?
Let's do it.
Do you just want to go through them? Let's just go through them all. Or do you want to do?
We probably have similarities on our list, to be honest.
Sure, C-Dubs, go for it.
Who has Andy Reid?
Me. No?
Yes.
I
Is that how we're doing this?
No. Yeah, just go down all 32 coaches. Who's got Eberflus? No, my 5. I have Andy Reid, John Harbaugh, Antonio Pierce,
Nice.
Sean McVay, and Dan Campbell.
Are we gonna
Love that.
explain?
Yeah.
I don't really want to explain.
How about we just go through all of them, and then we'll kind of talk about them a little bit.
Okay, well, I feel like 3. That works. I feel like 3 of them, or at least 2 of them, Harbaugh and Reid. I feel like they're kind of like the elderly statesmen of the NFL in a way, where it's like you feel comfortable letting them like lead a group of men or a country or whatnot. Like I would feel safe having them in charge of stuff.
I also
Right?
meant we all just go through and then we talk about them. I had things to say about those guys, but I haven't even covered. I haven't even
I'm
said where they're ranked
I'm
yet.
gonna make them fast.
No, K-Dog, you're up now.
Oh my God, this is such a mess.
That was brutal.
Damn.
I don't have a particular order, but I'll just go down.
Yeah.
So we got Robert Saleh because he scares me. We got Mike Tomlin,
Because
a model of consistency. We got Mike McCarthy because it would open up a certain job position that I like filled. We got Mike McDaniel, kind of liven things up a little bit, have some fun.
Mike McDaniel would send us into war.
And then we have Sean McVay, just a smart guy.
Okay. So I got Robert Salah, number 5. Set up a great defense. Really beef up our perimeter. Not that we need that. 4, we got Sean McVay, young, bright.
Youth, yeah, that's important.
Youth? Yeah, that's something we need in America right now. Number 3, Mike Tomlin. Like the consistency call out. Love that. He's a winner. He knows how to take nothing and turn it into something. 2, Dan Campbell. I'd go to war for Dan Campbell. Draft me, coach. Number 1. Number Weed, Andy Reid. He's just a winner. He's a winner overall. And then honorable mention, Pete Carroll.
So,
And Bill Belichick.
Before I get into mine, I just want to apologize to C-Dubs because I cut him off while he was explaining all those. And then you guys went into explaining all these.
I got
I
shafted
just
here.
wanted to say one tiny thing.
I wanted everyone to just go through their list and then we would talk about it. So, I'm sorry, C-Dubs. But
alright.
I'm going to go through mine and talk about it.
All right.
All right, number 5. Zach Taylor. I don't know how you guys didn't pick
What?
Zach Taylor.
What has this
That's
guy
literally
done?
a president, the 12th president of the United States, Zachary Taylor.
That is true.
That's good.
All
I
right.
think they spell their names differently, though.
Well, he goes by Zach.
Doesn't he?
President goes
isn't
by
it
Zachary.
ZAC?
I don't know.
Zach?
Tippy Canoe and Tyler too. For those of you in the know,
That was a good.
All right.
That was a good one.
Number 4, our GOAT, future Hall of Famer, Mike McDonald.
What? For what?
I just think he has a very calming, collected presence, honestly.
We don't know anything about him.
He commands the room. He does.
Have you been in a room with him?
I've watched press conferences. Have you not done that with any coach?
The video was commanded.
Huh?
Watch it.
Andy Reid, obviously. Number 3, natural born winner is what I had. You kind of
Loves cheeseburgers.
Dan Campbell, number 2, intimidating AF. And then I wrote down, bite the kneecaps off. You ruined my joke by laughing, bro. Bite the kneecaps off of Hamas.
I'm sorry. The joke is funny.
And then number 1, this is, I don't know how I got him here, but Jim Harbaugh.
No.
Well, because I think if you ever listen to this guy talk, he's got a lot of funny one-liners. His banter's great. I think that kind of makes him a really smart guy. I feel like people that can do that sort of thing are actually just very intelligent. And I think he just seems politically savvy in a way for some reason. I don't know why, but
He's on his house of cards.
yeah, he's got a house of cards. I mean, he was kind of the head of the whole Michigan science
Connor
team.
Stallion.
But he never got. I didn't hear one thing. He got those suspensions
Disappeared.
and stuff. But
Where's he at now?
nobody hated him after
He's
that.
stealing our podcast.
But if
signs.
anything, from the presidencies we've seen recently, he's had the most presidential type campaign of coaching.
Let's hope
Getting
he's
suspended. He's sitting in a hotel room having to watch the game, stuff like that.
Let's hope he's not House of Cards
Watergate
though.
type
We
stuff.
don't want to be no Kevin Spacey.
No. So we can get back to you.
Well, everyone kind of mentioned ones that I already had, so the only one I'm going to highlight is Antonio Pierce, because I feel like he motivates the Raiders, and the Raiders are not typically thought of to be a good football team.
Sure.
And I feel like they won a lot of games down the stretch that they shouldn't have last year.
They did.
So
I like that one.
I would
Almost beat the
I would
Chiefs.
say Antonio Pierce is a guy that inspires people.
Okay, you have to pick one though. If we all have a consensus one, I think I gotta go Dan Campbell.
I think we all had Dan Campbell. So.
I did not.
Oh, why not?
I don't know.
I thought you said
You also
I think
said
he's
you
kinda
drafted Mike
overrated.
Williams though, so I don't know if I'm gonna take it.
he's
I think Dan
overrated.
Campbell's a little overrated.
He just led a team to a
All right.
championship.
The only
game.
reason you're not picking him is
What?
because of his
Now,
kicking the Cowboys game.
no,
It has to be.
I don't hang on to that. No.
Really?
Although I
I
do,
would.
Although I will say that I feel like I kept saying that Lions were overrated last year, and I'm kind of holding on to that a bit this year. But
Why?
we'll see. I don't know. I just
It's interesting. I actually have. Oh wait. No.
I honestly believe the Lions should have the highest win over under total win totals this year.
that's
They
great.
should. They don't.
Over the 49ers.
Yeah, I think they're better than the 49ers.
Uh,
They were set to beat the Niners in the playoffs,
That's
and
true.
they choked.
That's true.
Yeah.
They're up 3 scores. All right, now we're going to talk about our sleeper teams, overrated teams, and then our Super Bowl pick. C-Dubs, hop into it.
So my sleeper team for this season is the Indianapolis Colts.
I like that.
And there's a couple of reasons for this. One, and you'll hear more about this when I get into the overrated team, because they're in the same division. But I think the AFC South.
Titans.
I think the AFC South.
The Jaguars.
I think the AFC South is kind of wide open this year. I will explain that in a little bit as well.
Yeah.
But I think with Indy, you have to look at their head coach, Shane Steichen, who was Philly's offensive coordinator. When Philly had their huge offensive year, we touched on how their offense kind of regressed last year. But in 2022, Steichen was their offensive coordinator, and they dominated the league in everything. Points per game, yards per game, everything. They were in first place. Or they were ranked first overall. And they're coming into the year with the 3rd ranked offensive line on PFF.
Love it.
They have the 7th ranked defensive line, according to PFF as well.
They're kind of nutty.
Their offensive weapons are really strong, right? They have Jonathan Taylor in the background. They re-signed Michael Pittman. They drafted Adonai Mitchell from Texas. They still have Josh Downs, which I'm going to include him. One of the most underrated things I think that they did was they actually signed Joe Flacco, which I think he will serve as a mentor to Anthony Richardson this year and can really help him kind of take that next step, considering last year was kind of a lost year for Anthony Richardson off of the injury. The one area of concern for Indy is their secondary isn't great. So if they win a lot of games, it's gonna have to be in shootouts. But I just really, really like their offense, and I think that alone will be able to push them over the edge in some really close games, is being able to score the football. So I like Indy as my surprise team this year.
I like this. And even if Anthony Richardson gets hurt again, which is a very possible outcome,
Right.
Joe Flacco has proven to us that he's probably one of the better backups in the league, in my opinion.
Despite his age, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing that he was successful in Cleveland was not only because they had decent weapons, but because their offensive line was good. So Indy
Both
coming in with the
lines.
number 3 offensive line, even if Anthony Richardson goes down, I don't think it would be the end of the world. I think they could still get 9-10 wins, and I'm picking them to win the AFC South.
What do you think their playoff outcome is?
I think they could win a wild card game, but that's probably about as far as they go. I think they need more help, but I could see them winning the wild card
You have the
weekend.
Jags finishing last in the division.
No, I do not.
I do.
Boo.
Actually, I don't know if that's true.
But yeah, so
So
I
you
get
have
it.
them outpacing the Texans
like that.
then.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll talk about the Texans.
I don't
in a
know if I
second.
agree with them getting first place, but I like the pick.
I do too.
My team, it's kind of similar. Still in the AFC. I don't believe this team is winning the Super Bowl, but I am going to say they're going to win at least one playoff game.
Wow.
That's the Pittsburgh Steelers. Anything?
Anyone?
We all just looked
There's
at
no
K-Dog.
reaction.
We
I thought
just
this was
kind of
a
like...
great pick.
We all-
Who's talking about the Steelers being good? I think
They're always
quietly they're always okay, but I think quietly they're going to be a good team this year. I mean, I think the Russell Wilson he had actually a pretty good year last year, very efficient. Not necessarily what he used to be, but far and ahead better than that disastrous season 2 years ago. It's the first time the Steelers have not. We all know they haven't had a losing season in many years, but this is the first time they've had a good quarterback in at least 3-4 years. They added Patrick Queen to bolster like an already really good defense. They got 2 good running backs. They got some dude named what's his name, Jared?
Calvin Austin.
Calvin Austin, yeah.
guy's
I
an
think the
alpha.
Steelers. I don't know. I haven't heard anyone talking about them. I think they're gonna have a great year this year.
I like that.
My only thing with Pittsburgh is they have the 32nd ranked schedule. So they have the worst.
that
They have the
true?
worst strength of schedule this year, and their last 8 games are brutal.
I'm not-
Their first part of the season is phenomenal, but their last 8 games are like a grind.
It'd be
Might have.
But that's the only thing I would flag.
I might
So,
have.
I don't hate it in terms of
slightly.
roster construction and everything
Right.
like that. I think Najee's gonna have
No,
a
they
good
do have,
season, but
and they have a tough division too. So I don't think they're gonna win the division, but
I think it'd be interesting because they're already putting out those projections for strength of schedule to see how often they actually hit those.
yeah, no, it's a good point.
Because teams are going to change over time.
yeah, that is a good
Right.
point. I've always wondered how much that varies year to year.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
All right. So I have 3. I'll go with my primary one. I feel okay about this one. I feel pretty good actually. I kind of went for for sleeper. I was looking at over under win totals. I thought that was kind of interesting to see like what team do I really think can outpace their win total. This might come as a shock. Staying in the AFC, staying in the West, not winning the West, but they're gonna come in second. I got the Las Vegas Raiders. And now we might be thinking that's nasty. They got AOC, they got Gardner Minshew. Like, who's the running back? Zamir White? Or who else they got? Madison?
Lube.
Like, the offense is like, there are some pieces that are like,
You still got
they could
Devontae
use some
Adams.
upgrades, right? But
For
they
now.
got Devontae Adams. They also have, in
Jacoby
something that I
Myers.
think is very important to this team, is Antonio Pierce. He came into the team 9 weeks in,
He's also got a rookie head coach.
took him to be 5-4, and look, he's got something that can boost these guys. They like playing for him. If you watch the show Receivers, it really shows like how
you
much
got
they
caught in the
value
trap.
how much they value him. And let's talk about this defense here for a second. What do you think the defense was ranked in points per game last year?
33rd.
Sneaky good.
13.
Eighth.
9th.
Damn.
Close. And defense, they didn't really lose any pieces. Like it's going to be kind of the same guys that we see.
Didn't they add that big dude from the Dolphins?
Who, Wilkins?
Yeah, Wilkins.
I don't know actually.
I think
I should- I
Wilkins, I
should
think
look at
Wilkins
that.
is on the Raiders now. I think he joined it. Let me check.
Yeah, but I mean, look,
With Crosby.
they're only expected
Yeah.
to win 6.5 games. I could see this team going 9-8. Like it's a very real potential outcome. Maybe sneak into a wild card. Could sneak a wild card win. I'm not saying they're going to, but I'm saying it's in a realm of
Yeah,
possibilities.
no. So Wilkins is on the Raiders.
And I honestly think Gardner Minshew is going to win the starting job. And I don't hate Gardner Minshew on this offense.
He's a Cougar, though.
Yeah, but
How
he's
can you not hate him?
yeah, but he lives in a van. He has a sweet stash.
He lives
Like
in a
he's just a
van.
cool dude. Cool dude. And yeah, look, I'm high on the Raiders. I actually think they're going to be pretty decent this year. I think it'll be better than the Chargers and definitely better than the Broncos.
Very cool, very cool. So I'll jump into mine.
Oh, my other two. Sorry.
You almost had him.
Seahawks 7.5. I'm taking the over on that. Cowboys. You know what the Cowboys win total is? 9.5. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
I'd smash that.
K-Dog.
Oh, you're
yeah,
saying
I
it's
can
low.
believe that.
You're saying
9.5's low.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
K-Dog's seen it.
They won
Well,
what did they win last year? Like 12,
They
13
won
games?
12,
Yeah.
3 in a row.
What happened?
Well,
So-
I mean, they're not going to put it at 11. You know, I mean,
They should. Why not?
Do they have 18?
They probably have a harder schedule, but
The highest win total is
Raven,
probably
it's Niners, Chiefs. I think go to
They
11.5.
probably have 11. Yeah.
Anyways,
Great. Why are the Chiefs so?
I don't. Based on win totals, I'm calling Cowboys a sleeper. I think 9.5 is ridiculous.
Wow. All right. The Titans.
Really?
I knew it. I knew it.
All right. So we're talking about win over unders. I had to look mine up. 6.5. So
Same as Raiders.
projected to be a pretty bad team, but I see a lot of good changes coming about. You signed Calvin Ridley. We're talking about him. He is very, very. He's a sleeper.
No, he's not.
You have DeAndre Hopkins. Okay, so
Oh man.
C-Dubs wrote something to K-Dog. I don't know what, but or whatever. I'm gonna keep talking. They're shifting their. Let me see before I go.
No,
They're
go
shifting their philosophy from a very run-heavy offense to passing-heavy. I think this is going to be good for Will Levis. I think Will Levis has the potential to make that step. Yeah, and I don't know. I feel good about this Titan team. Their O-line, putting them at 6.5. I think it's too low. I think they have potential to be a sleeper. I also did my division rankings, and I have them last in the division. So. Which is kind of funny.
Since he won 9 games last year, and they finished 4th in the
There you
in
go.
the AFC North, so it's possible.
It's a great division. They could do better than the Jags, I think, because they do have Calvin Ridley now. So
Well, that worked for the Jags last year.
that's what I'm saying. Anyways,
Not a lot of conviction in this one.
Not a lot, but I know I'm pretty high on the Titans compared to a lot of people, so I just feel like I need to
You know what's funny
Yes,
was
take your
call
call.
my sleeper.
when I started this for my overrated team, I actually put the Titans, and then I
Was
looked at the win
overrated?
overrated, and then because I thought their win total would be like 7 or 8, and then I saw people put them at. I actually saw 5.5, so I don't.
I think
see
that's
6.5.
I've seen 6.5.
That's
Okay.
pretty ridiculous.
I'd take the under there.
I think Levis is going to surprise a lot of people. I think Hopkins is going to have a good year.
But based off what?
That's what I've seen from him.
What have you seen that none of us have seen?
You guys have seen it. You just ignore it.
Oh, we.
So someone actually made a compilation. I saw it
I
on
know.
Twitter of all of
It's
Will
pretty good.
Levis's plays. It's pretty bad.
No, there's a lot of bad.
He's also a rookie. We gotta give
There's
him.
a lot of good in
give
there,
him some
though. I think if he develops,
I don't know.
he'll be fine.
C-Dubs, pop it, drop it, lock of
I-
the year is Titans under 6.5 wins.
That's disgusting. And that makes no sense. What did they have
no,
last year?
I'm hammering the under.
What did they have last year?
Nuts. I
I'll
think they
tell
had
ya.
5. I think they were 5 and. Why are you looking at me like that? Is 5 7? 5 is less than 7.
Who's their-
7's a lot in the NFL.
Who's their coach now?
Bill
Callahan.
Callahan, baby. No,
And,
it's
where
Brian.
did, and, where, and he
Bill?
came from the Browns.
I just
No,
the reason why I'm
Where'd he
Dad came from the Browns.
Where did he come
he
from?
was the
Cincy.
Bengals offensive coordinator. The reason why I'm just nervous about the Titans is just losing Vrabel. I feel like Vrabel was kind of like an Antonio Pierce type guy, where he got
None of the players.
he
liked
got more
I think
out of
that's
the
a big
players
loss.
than,
None of the
players
than what
liked
they
him, though.
did.
I agree with that.
That
I
may
was
be the
in
case.
the locker room.
You were, yeah.
I was one of the
Were
players.
you the water boy?
Titans were 6-11.
Okay.
Oh, how many more
That's
wins than
still not
5,
7,
huh?
bro. That's still not 7.
Well, but they're playing those games. They had
Tannehill at quarterback.
They could have flipped one of those games and been 7
They
and
could
10.
have, but
So get off my freaking back,
I'm
Good
a
job.
under, but that's okay.
sleeper.
Well, you're gonna hammer me for this for my overrated team,
All right, let's go.
which is the Houston Texans.
Oh.
What? So
No, I like this. I consider this too.
Great.
Sorry.
I highlighted this a little bit last week when we were doing our little prep session. In the last 11 years in the AFC South, can anyone tell me how many times the betting
0.
favorite has won the division?
0.
No,
What?
Probably
Twice.
2. Yeah.
twice.
Okay.
And was
2
it the
times.
Texans?
It was not the Texans. It was the Titans a couple years ago, and it was the
Really?
Colts in 2014.
The Titans, huh?
Yeah, when Mike
We
Vrabel
go
was
back a
their
little
coach.
further
They
than that. There's a
return.
period of time where the Texans were good for 3-4 years.
Yeah, they
Well,
weren't
had
the betting
Deshaun
favorite.
Watson, brother.
We have to remember the Colts had that weird stretch where they had like Matt Ryan and Phillip Rivers, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, they're gonna do it," and they didn't.
So bad.
So like the Falcons right now.
Yeah, but so anyway, 2 out of the last 11 years, the betting favorite has won. Texans are the betting favorite this year. I think that sophomore slumps are real. We also have to remember that this team, although they caught fire and they're kind of, I would say they're kind of everyone's like trendy team this year. Like if you were to walk down the street and say, "Hey, do you think the Texans are going to win this many games?" Most people are probably going to pick the over on
it's
it.
the hella normie team.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. We have to remember they lost to the Panthers last year.
Yeah.
Okay, and guess who
I
their
forgot
their
about that.
offseason additions were, right? You have Joe Mixon, you have Stephon Diggs, who I think both of them are kind of locker room cancers. At least Diggs, more so Diggs.
Diggs for sure.
Moss.
I haven't heard of
Mixon
I haven't heard Mixon.
Mixon has been washed in my opinion for years. I think he's perennially a 3.3 yards per carry type
Didn't
of a guy.
he finish as like the RB?
Because he always has a game where he has like 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, because he scores a lot. That's why. So I mean, Diggs, yeah, he's a talent, but he's also a diva, and diva wide receivers just don't really pan out in the NFL. They also added Jeff Okudah, garbage corner, and they added Daniil Hunter to replace one of their D linemen that they lost, which is just like a 1-for-1 in and out. So I don't think this team on paper really got any better, other than it's CJ Stroud's second year. Yeah, I know, but if you look historically at NFL teams that are in rebuilds, they have a huge jump unexpectedly, they usually take a little bit of a step back next year. I just don't think that this team is going to be what everyone is hyping them up to be. I don't think they'll live up to the expectations this year. I think that in 2, 3, 4 years, they're setting themselves up nicely to be a dynasty almost, especially if all of the chips fall in the right place. But I don't think that's this year. I think this year they take a step back. And what's going to be a competitive division
Clearly.
if the Titans are going to be 7, 8, 9 wins?
Some might even say 10.
Give me 10.
But yeah, I think Houston's getting overrated. So
That's fair. That's fair. I also have a top AFC team as my overrated team, and that would be
The Chiefs.
the Ravens.
Yes.
I like this.
That
I
makes
like this a
0
lot.
sense. I'm gonna rail you for this.
Sure. So
I
I
skipped
mean,
C-Dub.
okay. So this is how I look at the Ravens. Last year, obviously, they had an incredible year. You got Lamar and weak MVP season, but what really the story of them was their defense. I mean, I think they were number 1 in yards, number 1 in points, number 1 in sacks, number 1 in turnovers. I don't think that's sustainable. They lost key pieces on their defense. They lost Patrick Queen. They lost Mike McDonald. That's a great point. I didn't have that written down. Lost Geno Stone. They lost Seahawks legend Jadeveon Clowney.
Rest in peace.
They also
Mike McDonald?
Oh, sorry.
also on the offensive side, I didn't know this until I read it. They lost 3 starting offensive linemen. Currently, they have the 3rd best odds to win the Super Bowl at plus 950. I just don't see it. You know, I don't think Derrick Henry is going to pan out as well as they hope. It's a really hard division. You got the Bengals, Steelers, Browns. Clearly, they can't get past the Chiefs. I don't know. I kind of see them regressing from what was like kind of a perfect year for them last year. I just don't see them matching that.
I didn't know all the losses. That's
Yeah,
outrageous.
They're hurting.
Yeah,
I didn't either.
Because they just didn't pay any of them.
I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
All those guys got bags on their teams.
No,
What do you got to clap back with, Coop?
You got bags under your eyes.
Jesus.
That's true. I mean, I do. Sure. Okay.
Oh, I guess I did say I didn't realize they lost to but I did. I'll get into it later.
All right. Yeah.
When are you going to do it? When you put them as a Super Bowl favorite?
I still think they're going to make
Look
the
how
playoffs. Don't get me
clairvoyant
wrong.
you
I
are.
just- I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender. I think they're going to make the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to be.
Do you think they're
How many times do you look at a fantasy football team and you're like, that's not gonna. Man, that's not gonna win.
fantasy
the whole
football is
thing.
so different?
I mean, that's.
Oh, really? Now you confess it.
He's sitting up now.
Now you
I think-
confess
what
it.
do you-
This
what do you-
guy's like, there's no third
You just
place
fell into
winning
this
for
trap right now.
actual
What are you
football,
talking
so
about?
why would there be
I
for
just-
fantasy football?
Coop looked like the meme where the guy's playing the video game and he's like laying back in his chair, and then he just jumps up and he's
Because
like,
this
2
guy
inches from the
now this
screen.
guy's saying fantasy football's not real football. But then he said, "Oh, if you get third place, you shouldn't win anything in fantasy
different-
football because we're basing it off of real football. You don't win anything
I'm
in
talking
real
about
football."
dynasty. 2 different nuances.
I like the take though. I like the take.
I do too. That's a great one. I didn't even think about that one. Look, I'm going to repeat something that's already been said about overrated teams, players. I got the Jets. And it's basically everything that C-Dub said about Aaron Rodgers. This is more of a gut. it's a more of a gut thing. I don't have the stats to back up. Like C-Dubs did here, he laid it out for you, so I'm not going to repeat it. Look, the defense will be great. Offense, though, look, I think Rodgers finishes bottom, 16. I don't think he's
Better than Zach Wilson.
maybe
buddy.
bottom 20. And, sure, he'll be better than Zach Wilson. I have no problem saying that. But I just don't... I don't see this team, being...
And if he goes down and Jordan Travis comes in and lights the world on fire...
It'll be Tyrod.
I know.
I would love if Jordan
That was
Travis
the
came
joke,
in.
just because we talked about that guy.
Look, I think I could see Breece
too
Hall.
advanced.
Breece Hall's gonna eat. The defense is gonna eat,
it's
but
just
Aaron
the
Rodgers is gonna ultimately be the player that holds his team back. It's kind of gonna be a blue balling. Everyone's been waiting. Aaron Rodgers.
I don't
on
think
the Jets.
Aaron-
Aaron Rodgers, and now it's gonna he tore his Achilles, and now guess what? He's gonna
I don't think Aaron Rodgers needs to be
He's gonna
God
tear-
for his team to be great.
tear the Jets'
I agree.
dreams apart.
He just has to
I
be
agree.
decent.
If he's I agree with
if he's
that.
a top, if he's
this
15,
team is so
16,
talented.
it's just the defense is great. The
Yeah,
running
if he's
back's
just
great.
efficient, and that's what Aaron Rodgers is great at taking care of the ball, distributing it. That's all he's got to do with that.
Well, I
defense,
got
those
under on
weapons.
Jets.
Mike
I'm going under.
Williams, come on.
Yeah, I don't like that.
All right, whatever.
Also, can we just say the AFC East is probably gonna be garbage this year? I think it's gonna be awful.
You got the Bills and Dolphins.
I don't think the Bills are going to be that great.
Dolphins
and
lost
Dolphins
they
are
lost two
kind of
starting offensive linemen.
and
They lost
Dolphins.
that big defensive player too.
He went to the Raiders.
He plays for the Raiders.
and
I agree.
and there's some weird stuff going on with Dolphins not paying Tua, which does Tua really deserve a bag?
No.
Probably not.
Patriots under 4.5 wins.
Yeah, AFC East is going to be weird this year. So
Okay.
I could somehow if they could sneak to win the division, which I with a losing record, I could see that happening.
All right, Coop, who's your overrated team?
Bears. The Bears.
Yeah, good call. They were my second team.
I'm surprised none of you guys said them. I think everyone is just oh, Caleb Williams, he has all these weapons, he's going to be able to spread the ball around. I still got them finishing third in the division. They're not going to beat the Pack. They're not going to beat the Lions. He has all these great weapons, but is Caleb going to be able to make that transition? We'll talk about that in my offensive rookie of the year discussion. But
Oh, you got Roma Dunze, huh?
I just said they're overrated, brother. But yeah, I just think everyone has way too high expectations for the Bears.
100%.
If they don't do it this year, I think he'll end up panning out. I think he's gonna be the best quarterback in a long time. But Keenan Allen's getting older. DJ Moore, still a good wide receiver. They're set up to be good. It's
It's
like
all just Caleb Williams.
it's just like the whole Puka kind of narrative for me. There's very high expectations that I just don't think they'll hit.
No, I agree 100%. Mine issues lie more with Shane Waldron as their offensive
Yeah,
coordinator.
that too.
Pick one of those receivers. They're going to have an average depth of target of negative yards. So
Yeah, that's a good
have
point.
fun with that one.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hopefully
we saw
it's
how
not wrong.
JSN thought of him.
Oh, yeah. All right.
All right.
So are they making the playoffs? No.
No.
Okay.
Super Bowl teams?
The
Super Bowl
Bears.
winning teams?
The Bears.
Super Bowl waiting.
You picking the Picking the Titans? Okay.
So the winning team.
The winning
just
Super Bowl
a
team.
All right. Let's just run a train on these and just get through them.
Okay. I'll make this one quick. It's Cincinnati. It's the Bengals.
Oh,
Bengals
we
are going
already
all the
knew
way.
that.
They're winning it. It's going to be in Louisiana. Joe Burrow's going to come home with Jamar
that's
Chase.
right.
The princes of LSU are going to win it down in the bayou. And it's going to be great. Here's my biggest reasoning, though. So I know we've touched on some of the AFC East teams a little bit. Or sorry, the AFC North teams. Going back to strength of schedule, since he's got the 6th easiest coming into the year, Cleveland is at 29, Baltimore's at 30, and Pittsburgh's at 32. How the NFL schedule works is, just in case any of the listeners don't know, you play your division all 2 times, right? So that's 6 games. You play one division from the AFC, that's 4 games. You play one division from the NFC, that's 4 games. So you're 14. And then your last 3 games are against teams that finished in that same spot in the division that you did last year. Bengals finished 4th place in the division last year. Guess which 3 fourth place teams they get to play? The Giants, the Panthers, and the Titans. So they are set up to literally destroy their schedule opponents, right? Last year, I mentioned it just a couple minutes ago, they went 9-8 with Jake Browning as their quarterback for most of the season. Okay, replace him with healthy Joe Burrow, what happens? So I think that with their easier schedule, their improved defense through the draft and free agency, they added to the offensive line in the draft. They got that big dude from Georgia, as their number one pick. I think he's a right. I think he's a right tackle or a left tackle, but he's going to have more protection for Marius Mims. I think his name is more protection for Burrow. Like I said, the improved defense, and I think that they will have the number one seed. And guys, there's only been 2 quarterbacks to beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. It's Joe Burrow and it's Tom Brady. So I think I'm going to put my money on Cincinnati. It scares me a little bit because, again, we talked about the health of Joe Burrow. It's a big question mark. But I think if everything hits, I think Cincinnati could kind of strike lightning in a bottle and win it all.
I love it. I'd love to see them be in the AFC.
Yeah.
Here's my one question. Mm-hmm. Is orange in the Super Bowl logo next year?
Oh, shit, I don't know.
Well, that's
God.
already disproven, though.
I don't think so. I think it's red and green.
Better write that down.
I'll take my chances. Curses are meant to be broken.
I like that. I mean, I picked the Bengals last year. For sake
We
of
all did.
changing,
We all.
I think, yeah, that's right. We all did. And for sake of changing it up, I'm not going to pick them again. I was a smidge, just an inch away from choosing a Chiefs three-peat because I kind of feel like there's a
Because you're a Swiftie.
there's a good chance.
DeAndre Swiftie.
I think they have
Even worse.
I think they have a great chance at it, but I don't want to do that for the sake of the podcast. I'm gonna go with those Texans. I'm hopping on the bandwagon.
Wow.
I think I do hear what you're
too
saying.
early.
There's a very good chance that they are overrated. They're gonna. I hear what you're saying, but I feel like they're going all in. I think I don't know if Joe Mixon is that big of a pickup. Don't forget they do have that Damian Pierce guy still.
That guy's a bum.
But that wide receiver core is ridiculous. I mean, CJ Stroud, as a rookie last year, had one of the best, most efficient seasons, I believe, of all time. Like touchdown to interception ratio. You know, they added some pieces on defense. Pretty weak division. I don't know. I think they're just
in ball right now, bro.
really.
Got the Titans, the Colts,
Jaguars.
well, the Jaguars.
I think they're an easy AFC South winner. Yeah, I don't know. I was just looking at the list of teams. I'm like, I don't really like any of these teams to win.
Yeah.
So I'm picking the Texans.
So you foresee a Texans-Chiefs championship game, huh?
I suppose, yeah.
Be the third quarterback.
And that would be hard for me to think that the Texans could beat them, honestly. But I didn't want to choose the
in
Chiefs.
Arrowhead.
Why?
Because the Chiefs are going to have a better record at the end of the season than the Texans.
Probably.
They might not, though.
They definitely are.
Shouldn't they have the hardest strength of schedule?
They have a really easy division.
Should they have the hardest strength of
I mean,
schedule?
their division's
Well, if you win your division the year prior, you have a harder strength of schedule because you're playing other teams that won their division.
But they're going to play teams like...
I just explained that.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, shouldn't
Yeah.
they have the hardest? But why the Steelers?
What?
The Steelers do that.
Yeah. Well, because the Steelers finished second in their division last year.
That's crazy. Man.
That's ridiculous.
That's just
that they did
punishment,
that.
bro. That's
It
like
is
losing your
punishment.
fantasy football league right there.
Yeah.
Now you got the hardest schedule in the
Yeah,
season.
having to run like a naked mile on top of it.
Oof.
All right, so we're gonna skip George or probably Jay. Sorry.
Well, I got the Lions. Look, the Lions, they made it all the way up to the... What'd they make it to? The championship game?
They should have won the championship.
Should have won the championship game. And look, they're bringing back, like, it's like the same team that they're bringing back. Great O-line, great wide receivers, great quarterback, second year Gibbs, which I think he'll get way more work this year, which will be really exciting to watch. Defense added some small improvements. DJ Reader. Corners still might be an issue, though. I'm still projecting this defense to not be rock solid. However, I think this offense is good enough to carry them all the way to the ship. Give me the Lions.
You know they play 14 of their 17 regular season games in a dome this year?
And you know how good Jared Goff is in a dome?
Just throwing it out there.
He's great.
So you think they still... Do you guys all think that the Lions are still over the Packers this year?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
See,
I have the
don't
Packers in
think
the
I
Super
do.
Bowl.
Dude.
I kind of think...
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
I kind of think the Packers overtake the Lions this year.
Not yet.
Yeah, I'm with you.
No.
I'm with you.
We could talk about that for an hour.
Which we will.
So,
Next episode.
I'll jump into mine.
You got the Lions.
K-Dog kind of gave me every reason why this isn't going to happen after hearing it. I got the Ravens.
Oh, no.
I'm not going to go into it too deeply. I just think Lamar's a great player. Mark Andrews, my guy. They're adding Derrick Henry. So my thought process was like, oh, they didn't lose anybody. They're gaining Derrick Henry. That's all they needed was a running game, and they would have won that game.
They had a good running game, though.
They didn't use it when they lost.
Sure.
So that was my rationale, but after hearing of how decimated they actually are now.
Call an audible. Audible it up.
Well, we'll get to that before that, when we do our actual...
You seem like a guy who wants to pick the 49ers.
No, this isn't our,
we
locked in.
didn't preface that, so these are our preseason, preseason. You have one opportunity to change them before the season.
There's
Our last
preseason
episode.
games, Lamar could tear his ACL, and
yeah.
I'm not gonna pick the Ravens at that point.
We're still gonna clown you.
I'm not gonna wish that upon him.
You didn't see Lamar Jackson. You didn't predict Lamar Jackson tearing his ACL.
No.
Some might say that to me.
So yeah, I got the Ravens here. All right, that's enough. That's enough.
Enough yapping.
Put the listeners.
Let's tuck our shirts in.
Tuck them to bed.
Tuck them in, yeah.
Tuck them to bed.
All right, well, make sure to follow us on, what are we on these days? YouTube,
we're inactive
Spotify,
You can only find us
Instagram.
here.
TikTok.
Coop's doing daily art drawings on Instagram. Check us on TikTok. The Patreon with Kid Dogs.
DMs are open. He's saying any requests or T-shirts, memorabilia, anything.
Anywho, yeah. Check us out on everything. Follow us there. Follow us on Spotify. 5-star rating. Catch ya on the next episode. Shmokin.
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 Smoking.